Hey guys, what's up? It's Greg Srizvasi from the Deepest Dream YouTube channel. For more movie and TV reviews and interviews, please subscribe to this channel. Thank you so much. We do a lot of content on a weekly basis thanks to my Cinematics and Find Your Film podcast that I co-host with Bruce Perky and Eric Holmes. Just a lot of movie reviews and interviews and television coverage. So please subscribe if you can, and thanks again for your support. Now, for this documentary, Netflix documentary, it's called Take Care of Maya. And it's going to be a very quick review because I'm not going to give away a lot of the life events that occur in this documentary. All I can say, it's a very value-added project, especially if you have questions or fears or a paranoia or just concerns about what happens when you check yourself in. Most importantly, if you're a parent and you check your child, your son or daughter or your family member into the hospital, what can become of the situation? Sometimes families, they will call 911, they will take their kid to a hospital and something might happen. Child care services can take away the parent and put the kid in state custody. Who knows? Sometimes a parent will go to jail for a certain situation. So this situation where families taking their kids to a hospital in concern for their child's health can actually not just go south, because the most important part is the health of the child, of course, but a lot of things can happen within the confines and the politics and the misinterpretations or miscommunications within a hospital. Now, specifically for this documentary, it centers on the life of Maya Kowalski, who at age 9 in the year of 2016 was admitted to the Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital. Back in 2016, again, she was 9 years old. She was admitted because she was suffering from CRPS, which stands for Complex Regional Pain Syndrome. And I'm not a doctor, but it's a situation where her limbs, almost every part of her body ached, and her feet were turned inward a lot, and it was hard for her to walk. She was in a wheelchair. And in 2016, she was checked in, so hopefully she would get treatment for CRPS. And her parents are Beata Kowalski, and her father is Jack Kowalski. Her brother is Kyle. So the documentary centers on their lives it covers a couple of years before 2016, and it shows the family. It's a very loving family. I believe they're located out in Venice, Florida. And Beata is a very focused human being. She's a nurse, and when this happens, when CRPS afflicts her daughter, what Beata does is she makes sure, being a nurse and a professional, she makes sure she actually documents every single step of Maya's treatment. So it's very important that Beata does this, because her facts and her documentation of her stay at, again, the Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital could actually be a good thing. And I'll get to that in a second. So the rest of the rest of the documentary deals with how Maya, after being checked into the hospital due to a situation with her mother Beata and the administrators, the people there, they felt that Beata was being too aggressive with telling them to actually put heavy doses of ketamine into her daughter's system, because that's her treatment. That's how she should be treated for CRPS. And this miscommunication between Beata and the hospital staff leads to their child, the Kowalski's child Maya, being placed into custody within that hospital. So I'm not going to get into the details on what happens for the rest of the documentary, but it's a very frustrating watch to see what happens to Maya. As far as the documentary suggests or shows, the inefficiency and the callousness of that hospital. Okay, so obviously there are two sides of the story, and we get a really up close and personal relationship or bond with the Kowalski family, but with the Kowalskis by the end of this documentary. So obviously we are pushing for them, pulling for them to get their respective justice out. They want definitely their day in court. Ultimately, this leads into a lawsuit, and all of the details will be discussed within Take Care of Maya. It's just a very well done documentary, and thankfully it's not an exploitative documentary where a couple of very traumatic things happen throughout the project, and the filmmaker, I believe his name is Henry Roosevelt, he does not put the cameras right into their face. He gives them moments of privacy, and I really love that subtle touch within this documentary. It also makes great use of audio recordings in a nonlinear fashion. as they wrap up the third act. Much of these audio recordings are from Beata. And yeah, so look, on a documentary level, Take Care of Maya works because you're really invested in this family to make sure that A, Maya is healthy, and B, Maya gets, hopefully, is returned to her parents after being in after being in custody in the hospital, and it's just a whole rigmarole. And it's a very frustrating watch, but it's very informative, especially if you're a parent, just to know that this can happen to your child when you bring your child to the hospital. If you are actually a little bit aggressive or freaking out, who knows, maybe a hospital staff worker might misconstrue your intentions and call child services on you, and things can happen there. And it also takes a look at how big institutions, how big hospitals can actually delay the court process, and they could bleed you dry. You might be suing Hospital A for a certain action they placed upon you or your loved one or your child, but if you don't have enough money to cover either hospital costs, or if you sign a waiver called I believe it's called a case plan, then you're in trouble. Then you can't sue. So just on a lawsuit level, on an information level, and also ultimately on just the documentary as a way to look into the intimate lives of the Kowalskis, Take Care of Maya is a high-end documentary, very informative. Definitely recommended on Netflix. It's just recently released as of today. It's a very value-added documentary. Definitely check it out. It was released today on June 19th. Tell me on the comments. I mean, if you want, you can leave the spoiler stuff on the comments and tell me what you think of the documentary. Did Take Care of Maya teach you something? Did you learn? What did you think of the documentary? Would you recommend Take Care of Maya to fellow Netflix fans, or more importantly, fellow documentary enthusiasts? Take care. Again, Deepest Dream YouTube channel. Like and subscribe. My 2 podcasts are with Eric Holmes and Bruce Perky. They are called Cinematics and Find Your Film. You can find that information in the show notes. Thanks again. Take care of Maya. Most importantly, tell me what you think. Bye.